You have met one. The person in the meeting who speaks with absolute certainty about things they barely understand. The one who has never questioned whether they might be wrong. The one who mistakes confidence for competence and volume for knowledge. And the strangest part is that they have no idea. They are not pretending. They genuinely believe they are one of the smartest people in the room. And the reason this happens is one of the most important findings in the history of psychology. In 1999, psychologists David Dunning and Dunning-Kruger at Cornell University published a study that would change how we understand human self-assessment forever. They tested people on logical reasoning, grammar, and humor. Then they asked participants to estimate how well they had performed compared to others. The results were striking. The people who performed worst consistently overestimated their own performance by the largest margins. Those who scored in the bottom quarter believed they had performed better than roughly 60% of the group. They were not lying. They were not posturing. They simply had no accurate mechanism for measuring their own incompetence. Dunning and Kruger named this the double burden of incompetence. Not only do unskilled people lack the knowledge required to perform well, they also lack the knowledge required to recognize that they have performed poorly. The same skills needed to produce a correct answer are the skills needed to evaluate whether your answer is correct. Without those skills, you cannot assess the gap. You cannot see what you are missing, and so the gap becomes invisible. The less you know, the more confident you are that you know enough. This is not a personality flaw. It is a structural feature of how the human brain processes knowledge. When you learn something deeply, you begin to understand its complexity. You see the edges of what you know. You see the vast territory that lies beyond those edges. This is why genuine experts so frequently underestimate themselves. They can see everything they do not yet know. But the person who has learned only the surface of something cannot see those edges at all. They see a complete picture because they have no frame of reference for what a complete picture actually looks like. Their map ends at the border of their knowledge, and they assume the map is the territory. Bertrand Russell saw this coming long before the research confirmed it. In 1933, he wrote that the trouble with the world is that the stupid are cocksure while the intelligent are full of doubt. He was describing the same phenomenon from the other direction. Expertise breeds humility. Ignorance breeds certainty. And in a world where confidence is mistaken for competence, the ignorant and the certain will consistently outperform the knowledgeable and the humble in the one arena that matters most to most people, the impression they make. But here is where it gets genuinely uncomfortable. The Dunning-Kruger effect is not something that happens to other people. Research that followed the original study found that the effect applies in domains where you are not expert. Everyone, you are operating with incomplete information in some area of your life and experiencing unwarranted confidence in that area right now. The question is not whether the bias affects you. The question is where. Which room are you the confident one in? Which conversation are you speaking with certainty in a domain where your knowledge is shallow? Psychologist David Dunning himself has said that the first step to escaping the effect is the recognition that knowledge is not binary. You do not either know something or not know it. You exist on a spectrum of understanding. And at the early stages of that spectrum, after learning just enough to feel familiar with a topic, confidence peaks before it should. It takes more learning, more exposure to genuine expertise, more encounters with the edges of your own knowledge, before confidence begins to calibrate accurately. And most people stop learning long before they reach that point. This is why the most dangerous person in any room is not the one who says, "I am not sure." It is the one who never says it. Uncertainty is not weakness. It is the cognitive signature of someone who has learned enough to know how much they do not know. The most intelligent people you will ever meet are almost always the most comfortable saying those 4 words. I could be wrong. You have met the person who speaks with absolute certainty about things they barely understand. You recognize them immediately. The question that matters, the one this research forces you to sit with, is whether someone, somewhere, is recognizing you.